Hey guys, I got a new device that I've been using. It's the Rio Grande mechanical mod. Thanks to a bunch of guys on the ECF forums that have been nothing but talking good about these devices. And what I think really makes them special is the micro coil. So we're going to do some vaping. We're going to set up one of these coils and just let you know how the Rio is. And if you're ever thinking about it, it's a must. It's an awesome device. I've been using the Genesis for over a year and loved them, you know, and really never seen myself vaping anything but they're definitely taking a back seat to the Rio Grande. But got this baby set up with a micro coil. We're going to break it down and put a new one in there just to show you guys how it's done. Just the vapor on this stuff is, the vapor production is off the charts with this micro coil, and with the cotton, the flavor's awesome. I mean, probably one of the biggest differences I noticed with the Genesis, between this and the Genesis, is the heat sink issue. The little micro coil and the cotton, it's instant, you know, there's no puff, puff, puff vape. It's right there, you know, it's a great vape. It's a dripper, but it's fed from the bottom. So you got this little 6 ml juice bottle in there, and the Grand takes a 118-650 battery. But put your juice in there, and you squeeze it, and that feeds up the juice into the atomizer. And that's it. You know, I always loved the flavor of dripping, but hated to do it. So, I mean, these have been out for a while. I just never, you know, it just never appealed to me. But once you use this device, I think it'll be the last device you ever use. It's really awesome. So we're going to bust her down, we're going to make a coil, and just show you a little bit of how the micro coils work. Thanks, guys. Alright guys, so this is the Rio with the RM2 Riomizer atomizer, 2 posts, and the coils right there. Very tiny coil. I mean, just to get some idea, here is a 16 gauge blunt tip needle, which is about the same diameter as a 1/16 drill bit. Maybe this is slightly bigger. So that's what I wrap the coils around to make that little tiny coil right there. So yeah, it's a micro coil. So I'm going to go ahead and break down this, and we'll show you how to do a new one. So I got some 26 gauge Kanthal around the 16 gauge blunt tip needle, and I do my resistances, you know, pretty low, about 0.6, 0.7. So I know that about 8 turns on this wire will give me that resistance. 8 turns on this needle will give me that resistance. But You just want to go ahead and just try to get these wraps as close to each other as possible. Touching's really good. I usually go like a few wraps over, like maybe 11, and then kind of pull them out.
I'm Phyllis, and I have diabetic nerve pain. When I first felt the diabetic nerve pain, of course I had no idea what it was. I felt like my feet were going to sleep. It progressed from there to burning, like I was walking on hot coals.
I probably start out with about a 5-inch piece of wire. Give yourself plenty of room. And you can see the wrap there starting. And what's nice about this blunt tip is you can kind of squish it up against that side and it kind of holds it, or you can use it as some resistance to make these wraps tighter. Right there you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 or 10 right there. And I don't know if you can see it, but the very first one is hard to get tight as the other ones. So I kind of pull on them, pull them out. And it seems to tighten up all the other wraps. Alright, we got 9 there, so one less. Trying to count how many's there. I mean, I'm actually got to use one of these visor things, because these micro coils, they're micro. It's hard to see this stuff. That's it.
Finally here tonight, our Making a Difference report isn't so much about the often heroic role that nurses play in our healthcare every day.
I don't know how good the camera will show this, but that's your little micro coil.
His story tonight from NBC's Mike Taibbi. Start with this. 47-year-old Jared Action is a top flight.
Tiny. Alright, so next we're going to mount this on the atomizer and then just thread a piece of cotton through there and show you how we put it together. Alright guys, going to mount the little coil. As you can see, it's right on the needle, and I'm just going to insert it into the post.
She says it took just minutes for all of this to happen. Shingles were lifting up, the trees were whipping, and it was like over in 10 minutes. Tom Derenthal was on vacation when a neighbor called him and told him to come home. 3 trees in the driveway, 2 of them, one of them just about hit the house, it just grazed it, another one just grazed the
And it's nice, you know, that you can keep that needle on there just to keep that coil nice and tight.
Well, a reckless driver left quite a trail of destruction in an area, as you saw there, already hit hard by
Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says Christopher Stringfield first crashed the SUV into the front of the Sefner Food Mart around 3:30 Thursday morning. The store's windows are shattered and the door frame broken. Deputies say Stringfield stole cigarettes and sped off. A sheriff's deputy had spotted Stringfield.
And I found it best to keep the distance from the coil to the hole, which in the top cap, pretty close. You know, that coil, you know, I don't know, maybe a millimeter from the edge of the rim there. So that's the distance outwards, and then at the height of the hole also, the air hole. So and you could play with the height, but you can see the air hole. You know, you can kind of line it up without putting it on and just, you know, try to get that coil even with that, which is about right there. And you know, once you got this in here now, you know, you can fine tune it with this little blunt tip. You know, if it needs to be leveled out, you could just tilt on it a little bit. You could bring it up or down, in or out. That's looking actually pretty good. It actually looks like it could come out just a hair. So what's the future of Florida's stand your ground law? Even the U.S. Attorney General is weighing in on laws like Florida's. Today, Lauren May talked to the governor for his thoughts.
Actually loosen that. Bring that out a little bit. Tighten her back up.
We, the jury, found George Zimmerman not guilty. It's a reaction to the not guilty verdict in the George Zimmerman case, a case in which jurors were given language from Florida's law saying Zimmerman had no duty to retreat and had the right to stay.
Here's your little coil. Sorry I can't get any closer. That's about as close as I think I can get with the camera. So next we're going to dry pulse it, get some heat to the coil before we install the wick, and try to push those gaps up a little bit, and overall just stiffen up the coil a little bit before we put the wick in. So trim these leads, these little ears off the wires, get them tucked in, and we'll get on making a wick. Thanks. Alright guys, ready to heat up the coil a little bit. There you can see it. And you can see that hole right there. That's where the juice comes out from the bottom, floods the atomizer, it replenishes your wick, and then kind of drains back down in there. So it's pretty neat. But I'm going to go ahead and fire this coil up. For a couple of seconds. And then I squeeze these coils together till it cools. Kind of tightens them up a little bit. Do it a couple times.
In Sarasota, John Rogers, News Channel 8. Communities use their senses to detect everything that's happening in their environment, from a dip in temperatures.
And it's hard to get them all perfectly touching. I mean, I'm fairly new at this. I mean, I've only been doing this for a week or two. But once you get one of these coils made, I suppose, especially the thicker gauge, like the 26, all you got to do is re-wick it every few days or a week with a new piece of cotton, which we'll throw in there. But this coil, I don't see why it shouldn't last me 3 months without touching it. So it's not like a silica wick where every time you take it out, you got to recoil the whole thing. That coil will stay in there. That's it. So next we're going to go ahead and put a little piece of cotton in this sucker. I'll grab some cotton. Alright guys. Cotton ball. Sterile. First aid section. CVS. Sterile cotton balls. Get a whole box of them for like $5. I got enough cotton to last me 5 years. From that cotton, I take a little strip off and I roll it into a thread. It's probably, I don't know, 2 inches long and very thin. Kind of wet your fingers a little bit and twist it. And we're just going to slide it into the coil. Like such. Don't want it too tight, because once this cotton starts to wick, it kind of swells up a lot, so you don't really want to suffocate it too much.
The idea works in the lab, but they still need to figure out how the Bolivians can cook the long manure. Those disposable wipes that many people are flushing down their toilets while they're clogging sewer systems. Consumer Reports tested several
I'm gonna cut that.
discovered that the wipes don't disintegrate as quickly as toilet paper. One town in Minnesota actually had to
take the battery out.
to remove an entire truckload of the cloth. Some cities are now asking residents to throw those wipes in the trash instead of flushing them. Floridians know a thing or two about mosquito bites, but
You don't need a lot of this in this deck.
with no medicine. Amanda Milkowski shows us how it works. When bug sprays
And I got to thank a couple of guys on the forum, you know, for making these micro coils known. You got Super X Drifter and P-Dib, or whatever that means, B-Daddy. The B-Man. And they'll be watching. So hopefully I'll make them proud here.
Manufacturers recommend using it right after you're bitten. You take the device and you press this button right here. A red light comes up, and you apply it to wherever you got the bite. You hold it on there for about 30 seconds, or until it gets very warm and you can't take it anymore.
I kind of stuff
You're not supposed to have any pain or itching ever on the bite site.
the side where the hole is.
Seconds each, so 2.5 minutes later, I was done. Immediately after I used the Therapic, the bite sites were still itchy and swollen. But
I've been stuffing that one under there like that, towards the middle of the bowl of the deck. Because that Rio Miser, you know, is that ceramic deck, and it's sort of like concave, so the juice seems to come out of this this hole and probably favors the center in between the post, and then kind of drains back. So this side of the coil, I take the cotton and bring it to the center. Sort of like that for the other side. That's it, guys. A little bit of cotton. Stuff wicks like crazy. I'm going to get some juice. Fire her up. See how she's working. Alright, put a little bit more juice in the bottle. And I'm going to push the little bottle. See how that juice comes up there? Yeah. I don't know why they call it squonking. I don't know, it doesn't sound like squonk to me. Maybe, I don't know. So we'll squonk a little bit, get that coil nice and wet. That's what's cool about the cotton. I mean, in 2 seconds it's just totally saturated. That's it.
Although I have to admit, I'm one of those people that never gets bitten, so. I wish I was you that. Lucky me, alright, thanks to you. Well, if you missed nightly news, don't worry, we'll get you up to speed on today's big national stories next. And coming up tonight at 11, strong storms left quite a.
So on these, as you vape, unlike a Genesis, you want to vape with that air hole away from you. I actually bored that air hole out to about 1/16 of an inch. But just before I vape it, I'm going to go ahead and check the resistance on it just to see what we're looking at. One more thing about these cotton wicks is you want to keep your hands clean when you're making the wicks. You know, they're cotton, and I suppose if you got some dirt and oils on your hand, it could get on the wicks and maybe impede the flavor some. Really good vapor out of these, and taste is just awesome. I just can't keep saying enough about these devices. Really good. Take care, guys. Vape Diver out.